Okay, I'll look.
All right.
I saw Angie come in.
Good evening and welcome to today's City Board of Directors meeting. We have a rather lengthy agenda encompassing 12 condemnations and a few other resolutions in one ordinance. But at this time, I'd like everybody to rise and join Pastor Don Crossley in the invocation, followed by the pledge.
Our Father, how grateful we are to come and to share one with the other. This evening, we thank you for the city board. We just pray that you would give your wisdom, your knowledge, that the things they do, that it will be pleasing and acceptable in your sight. We just pray for our city, our nation, our state, our government. We pray that your glory will be revealed like never before. We need your presence. We need you every day and every hour. We give you thanks. We love you. And we don't have the words to adequately express our gratitude, but God, we do say thank you for all things you have done, the things that you're doing. It is in Christ's name we pray.
Amen.
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 Please join me in the pledge. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'll now call this meeting to order and ask the city clerk to read the roll, please.
Davidson.
Here.
Jones.
Here.
Clark.
Here.
Weatherford.
Here.
Garcia.
Here.
Foley.
Here.
McCabe.
Here. This time we'll consider approval of the agenda. Are there any additions or deletions to the agenda or items on the consent agenda you'd like to have moved to new business?
I move approval of the agenda.
Second.
Motion to approve and second. All in favor of the agenda as submitted signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Agenda is approved. This time we'll consider approval of the minutes of the regularly scheduled meeting of April 2nd, 2019. Are there any additions, deletions, or corrections to the minutes as presented? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
I so move.
Second.
We got a motion and a second to approve the minutes as presented. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Minutes are approved. We have a recognition of guests, and I'd like to call upon City Director Becca Clark to review, to read the proclamation for National Arbor Day, and would like our urban forester Alan Bates to come forward and to the podium, please. Alan not here?
Is he here?
Right here.
I don't see Alan here.
Okay,
I'll
go
just-
ahead
I'll
and
just
read
read it, okay?
read the proclamation.
Thank you, Mayor. Whereas National Arbor Day is observed throughout the nation and the world on the birthday of J. Sterling Morton, who proposed to the Nebraska Board of Agriculture in 1872 that a special day be set aside for the planting of trees. And whereas trees can reduce the erosion of our precious topsoil by wind and water, cut heating and cooling cost, moderate the temperature, clean the air, produce oxygen, and provide habitat for wildlife. And whereas trees are a renewable resource giving us paper, wood for our homes, fuel for our fires, and countless other wood products. And whereas trees in all areas increase property values, enhance the economic vitality of business areas, beautify our community, and are a source of joy and spiritual renewal to many. And whereas, recognizing the importance of the vital role trees play in our ecosystem, Hot Springs, Arkansas continues the observance of National Arbor Day on the fourth Friday of April each year. Now, therefore, Pat McCabe, Mayor of the City of Hot Springs, on behalf of the Board of Directors, does hereby proclaim April 26, 2019 as National Arbor Day in Hot Springs, Arkansas.
Thank you. So everybody go out and plant a tree on
Plant a
what
tree.
day?
Good idea.
26.
April 26th.
April 26th. Thank you. This time I call upon Guy Washburn, representing the Arkansas Asphalt Pavement Association. He has a special recognition. Welcome.
Good evening, Mayor and the city directors. I'm actually with Cranford Construction, but formerly of the Asphalt Pavement Association. Tonight I'm presenting your plaque for the project that was done on 7th Street and Fox Pass Road last year by B&L Construction. We furnished the hot mix asphalt from our plant at Jones Mill, and this is the statewide winner for all submissions in this category through the state aid program for cities. And so I'm here to present this tonight and congratulate you on some excellent workmanship and materials for this project.
Oh, what was the criteria for the award?
So there is a nomination process. The Highway Department nominates these projects that they feel are worthy. There's information submitted about density, workmanship, and safety, whether there are any grinds or difficulties that were not able to be overcome by the contractor. In this case, I guess all the boxes were checked.
Very good.
Congratulations.
Gary, come on up. Gary, you want to come on up? You hear a lot of this.
Perfect.
At this time, I'd call upon City Director Garcia. She has a special proclamation, and I'd like to call upon Angelica Perkins to come to the podium here.
Thank you, Mayor. It's my honor and privilege to present this proclamation. Whereas Angela Perkins, a resident of District 5 in the city of Hot Springs, Arkansas, and is the 89th Miss University of Arkansas at Pine Bluff, and whereas Angela Perkins garnered first place in the annual Historical Black Colleges and Universities Campus Queens competition involving queens from more than 60 historical black colleges across the United States. And whereas the Ebony Magazine sponsored competition identified the determination, inner beauty, and positive impact of Queen Angela Perkins, and whereas Angela Perkins was recognized by Ebony to be poised to affect significant social change within our collegiate, civic, national, global communities, and whereas Ms. Perkins was recognized as a rising scholar at UAPB with her high 3.9 GPA, majoring in business finance, as well as her involvement at the institution and work with the organizations there, including the Carolyn F. Blakely Honors Program. Perkins has been involved on campus from the second she entered Golden Line Country. She's a participant in the Lions program and has studied abroad, served as Ms. Black and Gold, served as Director of Public Relations for the Student Government Association. She helped charter an on-campus recycling program and is the chapter co-chair of Community Outreach for Zeta Phi Beta Sorority. And whereas the bonds that build between young women throughout the Ebony competition help to break down social barriers of racism and prejudice, and the communication and cooperation skills learned play a vital role in young women's contributions at home, at work, and to society. And whereas a need for increased opportunities exists for young women to participate in and pursue activities at the community and academic level to enhance their well-being, and whereas Angela Perkins, a Hot Springs, Arkansas native, is an ambassador for the city of Hot Springs and role model of the achievements above, now therefore Pat McCabe, Mayor of the City of Hot Springs, and on behalf of the entire Board of Directors of the City of Hot Springs, do hereby proclaim April 16th, 2019 as Angela Perkins Recognition Day. And we also want to recognize UAPB alumni with us.
To be on top.
Thank you so much. Yes, you can.
To Ms. Garcia, Mayor McCabe, and the entire Board of Directors, I just want to thank you all so much for honoring me here today. I'm a proud native of Hot Springs, and I hope to do even greater things for this city. And I also hope to be a bridge between Hot Springs and the Pine Bluff community. So thank you again.
Thank you.
Our final guest tonight is a group of young men, and I'd like them to stand, please. I just want everybody to know who you are. This is Troop 2 of the Quapaw Area Boy Scouts. They're attending tonight's meeting as one of the means by which they can meet the criteria to receive a merit badge for citizenship in the community. Merit badge for citizenship in the community. Thank you very much for your attendance. This time we'll hear from the city manager for the city manager's report.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the board. Just a couple of things. Recently, Parks and Trails staff dedicated a bench which was donated by the Garland County Master Gardeners through their yearly Coleus plant sale funds. Surrounded by trees and the calmness of nature, one can enjoy resting on the bench located at the Utility Service Center Trail, which is the newest part of the Hot Springs Creek Greenway Trail. One of the things that many of our residents will be seeing over the next few weeks is some removal of trees at Family Park. We have to remove several trees at Family Park due to Federal Aviation Administration's height requirements and to provide greater safety to the flying public. As we remove these trees, we will be coming back in with a replanting of fruit-bearing trees. And I've received some suggestions on what those could be, but as you see that, it's actually in the taxiway of Runway 13, the trees along Airport Road and the park's west hillside that exceed the allowable height will be removed. And again, Alan Bates, our city urban forester, is advising the airport on appropriate plantings. But we do plan on bringing trees back to this area, just not ones that will grow to the height of the type that's there now. As the board and many know, we are interviewing for some very important roles within the city. The Public Information Officer, Terry Payne's last day was this past Friday, and we bid farewell to Terry and wished her luck. Terry, she spent 29 years with the Hot Springs family, and there won't be any replacing her, but we will be replacing the position. That particular position, as well as city clerk, were held the past 2 days, and I'm happy to say that we received some very qualified applicants for these roles. I appreciate Mr. Spicer and Mr. Albright, as well as Ms. Minnie Lennox, setting in on that interview committee, and we should be well positioned to make a decision very soon and bring those employees back to the board for an introduction. So we're excited about the potential to have some new very qualified candidates joining the city. And as the mayor, as the board knows, you approved the DeGray water supply storage agreement at your last meeting, and that signing was held the day after on April the 3rd. And again, these are very historic occasions. This is the largest water supply agreement for the Vicksburg District in the Mississippi Valley Division of the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. Prior to that, we also set a record working with our partners at Mid-Arkansas Water Alliance, and that was the first water reallocation agreement that was ever made in the Vicksburg District, and that was for Lake Ouachita. We did receive some photos, so Mayor, I don't know if you want to sign that one. It's a pretty good one. You may want to keep it. As for the board members that could attend, we also have some photos for you, so we'll be passing those out to you before you leave tonight. But again, an historic occasion that we're all very proud of. So thank you, Mayor.
Very good. At this time, we'll entertain comments of upcoming events or from city directors. Any upcoming events you'd like to make an announcement? Director Garcia.
Thank you, Mayor. Yes, I would like to announce for the Master Gardeners, they're hosting a plant sale and garden show on April 27th from 8 a.m. till 4 p.m. at the Garland County Fairgrounds. There will be plants galore in one building. They'll have vendors, educational exhibitors, and kids, crafts, and arts in the craft building, and educational exhibits and additional vendors with speakers on azaleas and roses, but it's for the whole family, and they invite you to come out and enjoy what time you can at the fairgrounds on April 27th. Thank you.
Very good.
Mayor.
Any Director Jones?
Yes, I have the alumni just left. They're having a chicken dinner and a rib dinner, which includes baked beans, slaw, bread, desserts, and drinks on Friday, May 3rd from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. And it is to benefit their scholarship fund. The chicken is $10. And the ribs, would be more. They're $12, the rib dinner. And I also would like to give a great big shout out to the workers of the Donald Rice basketball court, Pocket Park, that is in District 2. Special thanks go to Gary Carnahan. He worked so hard. You never thought it would happen, did you? Anyway, it's beginning. They put the nets up today or yesterday. One nets are up, and I had a little challenge, but I think I'm gonna have to take that back since I've been under the weather with the pollen. I won't be able to shoot the basketball like I said I would, Mayor. I'm under the weather, so don't take that like I'm a chicken or nothing. Because I'm really not. But the staff worked so hard, the workers worked so hard, and I really appreciate it. Everyone in District 2 appreciated, especially Gateway, who helped spur the thing on. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Any other announcements of upcoming events? Very good. This time we'll move to the consent agenda, and these tend to be of routine nature and do not merit individual discussions, so we approve them in mass. So,
Move the approval of the consent agenda.
a motion to approve,
Second.
seconded by Director Clark. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Consent agenda is approved. Now we'll consider, under new business, consider Resolution R-1960 and ask the city attorney to read by title.
Resolution R-1960, a resolution awarding a bid to All Pro Contracting, Inc. for contract number 2 of the dam improvements project repairs to Sanderson and Ricks Dam. That concludes your reading, Mayor. If you would entertain a motion to second to adopt and have discussion, if any.
Motion to adopt. Director Foley, seconded by
Second.
Director Garcia. Mr. Gary Carnahan, City Engineer, will provide the overview. Staff
Thank
report.
you, Mayor. Our Sanderson and Ricks dams, we have evaluated those and found that the spillway concrete needs a pretty extensive repair, and so we prepared engineering plans for that work. Had a bid opening. We received 4 qualified bids, so we're very happy about that. And we would like you to award to the low bidder tonight, All Pro Contracting, the bid for $161,200 to complete this much-needed repair work for those 2 dams.
Any questions of Mr. Carnahan? Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
We had no individual from the audience, from the public, sign up to speak on this issue, so we'll entertain discussion amongst directors. Any discussion? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Mayor, for the record, I would like to make note that Director Weatherford has recused himself on this bill.
Correct, yes. Thank you.
Director Davidson?
Aye.
Jones?
Aye.
Clark?
Aye.
Garcia?
Aye.
Foley?
Aye.
McCabe?
Aye. Resolution is adopted. Now we'll consider Resolution R 1961 and ask the City Attorney to read by title.
Resolution R 1961, a resolution approving an amendment to the agreement with RDOT Project 060432 for the Highway 7 South widening at Hamilton Oaks Drive. That concludes your reading, Mayor. If you would, entertain a motion second to adopt and have discussion, if any.
Motion to adopt.
So moved.
Got a motion, Director Jones, seconded by
Second.
Director Davidson. Mr. Carnahan, City
Thank you, sir.
Engineer.
So you probably noticed and are enjoying Highway 7 South with the new 5 lanes and the continuous turning lane, bicycle lane, sidewalks, etc. An amazing project, but one little problem: the drive up to Hamilton Oaks is too steep. So we're going to have to rebuild that driveway and lower. Part of that is that we have to lower our sewer main because of the change in the grade and redo the paving. So that is all 100% reimbursable from RDOT. So we have amended, asking you to amend our contract with RDOT for the work that the city is doing on that project to include this Hamilton Oaks revision for $89,451.71. And I'll repeat that will all be reimbursed by RDOT at the end of the project.
Good. Any questions of Mr. Carnahan? Director Garcia?
And when did you expect the project to be completed?
I'm going to say that'll be completed within 60 days. It's a fast-track project.
Well, you are correct. I've received lots of compliments on that work from residents in District 5 and South Hot Springs. So they're very grateful to everyone involved in that work. Thank
Great.
you.
It's another example of RDOT investing money in our county and in our community.
Very good. Any other questions? Thank you.
Good, thank you.
Again, we had no one from the public sign up to speak on this issue, so discussion amongst directors. Hearing none, please call the roll.
Jones?
Aye.
Clark?
Aye.
Weatherford?
Aye.
Garcia?
Aye.
Foley?
Aye.
Davidson?
Aye.
McCabe? Aye. Resolution is adopted. Now we have a series of 12 condemnations, and the first one is resolution number R 1962. Ask the city attorney to read by title.
Resolution R 1962, a resolution condemning certain real property pursuant to Ordinance 6069-108 Portland. That concludes your reading, Mayor. If you would, entertain a motion second to adopt and have discussion, if any.
Motion to adopt.
So moved.
Got a motion by Director Clark, seconded by Director Foley. And Mr. Mike Scott,
Thank
Chief
you, Mayor.
Building
Thank you, Board
Inspector,
of
will be
Directors.
here for the next hour.
No, sir, I'll make it quick, I promise you. Just a quick note, I would like you all to know, this is a last resort as always. We have been working on all these properties for years, not just months. This is a last-ditch effort that we conclude to bring them to you guys. So, and we probably do have a few people to speak tonight. 108 Portland, we got postal notice, certified letter, we got the green card back. We've had violations on this property since 2008, a housing file since 2010. The section in the back is collapsing and the roof has major damage. And we have issued actually 13 notices on this property since 2008.
Very good. Any questions of Mr. Scott? Thank you. Do we have anybody who would like to speak on this issue? Please come forward and state your name and address, please.
My name is Tracy Brown. I actually live in Bryant, 704 Providence. I own Colton Steakhouse. The gentleman that owns this property, which kind of makes me crazy coming to talk about this, has worked for me for over 30 years. And 2 weeks ago, he had a stroke, at which time I learned that I was given power of attorney, or we're getting power of attorney over him, at which time I learned about all of this. I don't know all of this stuff. I don't know. Did I talk to you? Was it you I talked to on the phone? I talked to somebody else, but I called to try to see if there was anything I could do just to get more time till I get my hands around this. I don't know how all this works. I've never been in this position before with anything like this. He is himself and can communicate with me, and so I've had to get him to be straight with me about this stuff. When I spoke to the other gentleman, he doesn't stay always at this house. This was his mom's house, and all I'm asking for, if that's appropriate, is just a little bit of time to get my hands around it. I had a contractor go look today. I have not talked to him to see if the structure is even where, if I could somehow get it ripped out, I could do anything about it. What he said to me was, and we had gotten a letter at Colton's, which I didn't know what it was. It was just, from code enforcement, and so we gave it to Kevin. And but he's in Baptist rehab right now, and so I asked him if I could come talk about this to try to save the house. And I know, he's said that he's worked on this house. Obviously, he hasn't. The code enforcement gentleman told me that he had driven by several times, and he did not believe that he was always at this house. But obviously, there are issues. Somebody's going in and out of the house. And so, anyway, if it's appropriate, can I have a minute? Can I have just enough time to get some information if there is any structure at all to this house, if I could do anything to help him? I don't think the house is valued. I think it's valued like, $20,000 if it were in great shape. But his feeling was that maybe if I showed some effort or could somehow get a crew to get started, that maybe we would not have to condemn this house.
Well, the condemnation would not take effect for 30 days.
Okay.
And so it's during that time that we allow those who are in the situation to put a plan together that's suitable and work with Mr. Scott in taking out the requisite permits to begin the restoration process. So, any action here today would not really be effective for 30 days.
Okay.
So that should allow you ample time to get with your contractors and see what might be done.
Yeah, I'd never been there, and and it's a mess. But I don't know structurally if there's any part of it left at all, and but I will do my best to try to do that within 30 days. We can do something about that.
Very good. But your key communication needs to be with Mr. Scott. So, did we have anybody else in the audience that wanted to speak to this piece of property, this resolution? Thank you. Any discussion amongst directors? Please call the roll.
Clark,
Aye.
Weatherford, Garcia,
Aye.
Foley,
Aye.
Davidson,
Aye.
Jones,
Aye.
McCabe.
Aye. Resolution is adopted. This time we'll consider Resolution R 1961 and ask City Attorney to read by, R 1963, ask City Attorney to read by title.
Resolution R 1963, a resolution condemning certain real property pursuant to ordinance number 6069-113 Snyder. That concludes your reading, Mayor. If you would, entertain a motion second to adopt and have discussion, if any.
Motion to adopt.
So moved.
Got a motion from Director Jones, seconded by
Second.
Director Davidson. Mr. Scott.
Thank you. 113 Snyder, postal, we sent certified letter, got the green card back. This house has had 20 notices or citations since 2015. The back wall of this house is collapsing, and so it has major structural damage on the foundation also. We have spoke with the owner, and she has expressed interest in having us tear down the home and put a lien on it, and told us she would work with paying the lien back on time. She just doesn't have the money to do it herself.
Okay. Any questions of Mr. Scott? Thank you.
Anyone here to speak in opposition of Resolution R 1963, a resolution condemning certain real property pursuant to ordinance number 6069, 113 Snyder? 113 Snyder. Hearing none, Mayor, either further discussion or call the roll.
Any further discussion? Please call the roll.
Weatherford.
Aye.
Garcia.
Aye.
Foley.
Aye.
Davidson.
Aye.
Jones.
Aye.
Clark.
Aye.
McCabe.
Aye. Resolution is adopted. This time we'll consider Resolution R 1964 and ask City Attorney to read by title.
Resolution R 1964, a resolution condemning certain real property pursuant to ordinance number 6069, 206 golf links. That concludes your reading, Mayor. If you would, entertain a motion second to adopt and have discussion, if any.
Motion to adopt.
So moved.
Director
Second.
Clark, seconded by Director Jones, and Mr. Scott will provide an overview.
206 Golf Links, certified letter, green card was returned, signed. We've had a housing file on this property since 2014. The roof has major structural damage, and there's been 4 notices on this house since 2012. We tried to get the owners to fix it or tear it down themselves. So,
Very good. Any questions of Mr. Scott? Thank you.
Anyone to speak in opposition of Resolution R 1964, a resolution condemning certain real property pursuant to ordinance number 6069, 206 golf links? 206 golf links. Hearing none, Mayor, if you would have further discussion, we'll call the roll.
Any discussion amongst the board? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Garcia.
Aye.
Foley.
Aye.
Davidson.
Aye.
Jones.
Aye.
Clark.
Aye.
Weatherford.
Aye.
McCabe.
Aye. Resolution is adopted. This time we'll consider Resolution R 1965 and ask City Attorney to read by title.
Resolution R 1965, a resolution condemning certain real property pursuant to ordinance number 6069, 220 Eddy. That concludes your reading, Mayor. If you would, entertain a motion second to adopt and have discussion, if any.
Motion to adopt. So moved. Director Foley, seconded by
Second.
Director Clark. Mr. Scott. please.
220 Eddie, certified letter, green card got returned. Also, personal notice, he's been in my office almost every day. So, a tree fell back in 2017 and damaged this structure and one other one. The city tore down the structure next door to this one last year. Now we're trying to tear this one down. He has pulled 2 building permits in the last year with no work done at all. So he's just been trying to extend the inevitable. So we would like, and there's been 17 notices on this structure in the past year. So
Good. Thank you. Any questions, Mr. Scott?
Anyone here to speak in opposition of Resolution R 1965, a resolution condemning certain real property pursuant to ordinance number 6069, 220 Eddy? 220 Eddy. Hearing none, Mayor, if you would, have further discussion or call for the roll.
Any discussion amongst directors? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Foley.
Aye.
Davidson.
Aye.
Jones.
Aye.
Clark.
Aye.
Weatherford.
Aye.
Garcia.
Aye.
McCabe.
Aye. Resolution is adopted. This time we'll consider Resolution R 1966 and ask City Attorney to read by title.
Resolution R 1966, a resolution condemning certain real property pursuant to ordinance number 6069, 308 Lowry. That concludes your reading, Mayor. If you would, entertain a motion second to adopt and have discussion.
Motion to adopt.
So moved.
Second.
Director Weatherford, second by Director Jones. Mr. Scott.
308 Lowry, certified letter with the green card returned back signed. This home has major foundation and roof damage. We've had a housing file on it since 2006. It's had 18 notices in the past years.
Questions of Mr. Scott?
Anyone here to speak in opposition of Resolution R 1966, condemning certain real property at 308 Lowry? 308 Lowry. Hearing none, Mayor, either have further discussion or call for the vote.
Any discussion amongst directors? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Davidson.
Aye.
Jones.
Aye.
Clark.
Aye.
Weatherford.
Aye.
Garcia.
Aye.
Folly,
Aye.
McCabe.
Aye. Motion is adopted. Now we'll consider Resolution R 1967 and ask City Attorney to read by title.
Resolution R 1967, a resolution condemning certain real property pursuant to ordinance number 6069, 310 Jacob. That concludes your reading, Mayor. If you would entertain a motion and a second to adopt and have discussion, if any.
Motion to adopt.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second.
310 Jacob, hand-delivered, signed for the letter. This has had a housing file on it since 2014. We currently have 3 liens on this property, $741 total. We've been cutting and trying to keep the property boarded up. For the last few years, it's had 13 notices since 2014. Has major roof and floor damage.
Okay, any questions of Mr. Scott?
Anyone here to speak in opposition of Resolution 1967, condemning certain real property at 310 Jacob? 310 Jacob. Hearing none, Mayor, if you would, have further discussion or call the roll.
Any discussion amongst directors? Please call the roll.
Jones,
Aye.
Clark,
Aye.
Weatherford,
Aye.
Garcia,
Aye.
Folly,
Aye.
Davidson,
Aye.
McCabe.
Aye. Resolution is adopted. Now we'll hear Resolution R 1968 and ask the City Attorney to read by title.
Resolution R 1968, a resolution condemning certain real property pursuant to ordinance number 6069, 324 Ozark. That concludes your reading, Mayor. If you would entertain a motion second to adopt.
Motion to adopt.
So moved.
Director Weatherford.
Second.
Seconded by Director Garcia. Mr. Scott.
324 Ozark, certified letter, green card return signed. We've had a housing file on this property since 2015. The porch and the back wall collapsed. It's hard to get a picture of the back wall because if you know this property, it's so grown up you can't get past the back of the house and it drops off. So but from the inside, you can only go so far in it and you can see the back wall's about gone. This has also had 8 notices since 2015 trying to get the owner to fix the property or demolish it themselves.
Questions of Mr. Scott?
Anyone here to speak in opposition of Resolution R 1968, condemning certain real property at 324 Ozark? 324 Ozark. Hearing none, Mayor, if you would, continue discussion or call the roll.
Any discussion amongst directors? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Clark,
Aye.
Weatherford,
Aye.
Garcia,
Aye.
Folly,
Aye.
Davidson,
Aye.
Jones,
Aye.
McCabe.
Aye. Resolution is adopted. We'll consider Resolution R 1969 and ask City Attorney to read by title.
Resolution R 1969, a resolution condemning certain real property pursuant to ordinance number 6069, 412 Cones. That concludes your reading, Mayor. If you would entertain a motion second to adopt and have discussion, if any.
Motion to adopt.
So moved.
Director Jones. Director Davidson. Mr. Scott.
412 Cones, certified letter, the card returned, and it's signed. This structure was hit by a house recently in the past 2 or 3 years. Over the years, we've had 39 notices with violations and citations in court. The owner, it does have a new owner. He just got it, and he did pull a demo permit, and he's got equipment sitting there. He says he's waiting on the gas to be disconnected. He was in my office today, and I hope that's true. I really do. But I would like to have it condemned just in case that's not true. So.
Very good. Any questions of Mr. Scott?
Anyone here to speak in opposition of Resolution R 1969, condemning certain real property at 412 Cones? 412 Cones. Hearing none, Mayor, if you would, continue discussion or call the roll.
Any discussion amongst directors? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Weatherford,
Aye.
Garcia,
Aye.
Folly,
Aye.
Davidson,
Aye.
Jones,
Aye.
Clark,
Aye.
McCabe.
Aye. Resolution is adopted. Now we hear Resolution R 1970 and ask City Attorney to read by title.
Resolution R 1970, a resolution condemning certain real property pursuant to ordinance number 6069, 504 Mountain Valley. That concludes your reading, Mayor. If you would entertain a motion second to adopt and have discussion, if any.
Motion to adopt.
So moved.
Second.
Director Garcia, second by Director Foley. Mr. Scott.
Mountain Valley, this is certified letter, green card returned back to sign. The city demoed a house on this property in 2008, so there currently is a lien for that in the amount of $2,182. The owners live in San Francisco, California. And so this is just a small outbuilding that remains on the property. Now it's overran with animals that are undesirable in that area, and we're getting complaints from the neighbors, and now it's about to collapse, as you can see. We've given 18 notices on this property over the last years or so, trying to get the owners to do something with it. So,
Any questions of Mr. Scott? Thank you.
Anyone here to speak in opposition of Resolution R-1970, condemning certain real property at 504 Mountain Valley? 504 Mountain Valley. Hearing none, Mayor, if you would continue discussion or call the roll.
Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Garcia,
Aye.
Foley,
Aye.
Davidson,
Aye.
Jones,
Aye.
Clark,
Aye.
Weatherford,
Aye.
McCabe.
Aye. Resolution's adopted. This time we'll consider Resolution R-1971 and ask the city attorney to read by title.
Resolution R-1971, a resolution condemning certain real property pursuant to ordinance number 6069, 521 Gaines. That concludes your reading, Mayor. If you would entertain a motion second to adopt and have discussion.
Motion to adopt.
So moved.
Second.
Director Jones, second by Director Clark. Mr. Scott.
521 Gaines, certified letter, green card return signed. 521 Gaines is also the same owner as 324 Ozark. The owners live in California and bought both of these properties along with another one in Hot Springs on auction over the internet. And so they've done nothing with them. So this house here has continued the roof to leak, and now it's got a big hole in it. The roof is collapsing and has damaged the house considerably. It has had 12 notices on it since 2013, trying to get the owners in California to do something with it.
Very good. Any questions of Mr. Scott? Thank you.
Anyone here to speak in opposition of Resolution 1971, a resolution condemning certain real property at 521 Gaines? 521 Gaines. Hearing none, Mayor, please continue discussion or call the roll.
Any discussion amongst directors? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Foley,
Aye.
Davidson,
Aye.
Jones,
Aye.
Clark,
Aye.
Weatherford,
Aye.
Garcia,
Aye.
McCabe.
Aye. Resolution's adopted. We'll consider Resolution R-1972 and ask the city attorney to read by title.
Resolution R-1972, a resolution condemning certain real property pursuant to ordinance number 6069, 809 School. That concludes your reading, Mayor. If you would entertain a motion second to adopt and have discussion, if any.
Motion to adopt.
So moved.
Director Clark, seconded
Second.
by Director Davidson. Mr. Scott.
809 School, owner has signed a demo waiver. She wants it down. We're having problems with people we try to keep it boarded up. They keep tearing it off and living in it. We've had problems. The police has had many problems with it. They currently owe $1,296, and that's our liens on it, the cost of keeping it boarded up and mowing the lawn every year. So, and we've had 39 notices on this house in the past few years. So.
Any questions of Mr. Scott? Thank you.
Anyone here to speak in opposition of Resolution R-1972, condemning certain real property located at 809 School? 809 School. Hearing none, Mayor, if you would continue discussion or call the roll.
Any discussion amongst directors? Please call the roll.
Davidson,
Aye.
Jones,
Aye.
Clark,
Aye.
Weatherford,
Aye.
Garcia,
Aye.
Foley,
Aye.
McCabe.
Aye. Resolution is adopted. Our final condemnation resolution is R-1973. Ask city attorney to read by title.
Resolution R-1973, a resolution condemning certain real property pursuant to ordinance number 6069, 1017 Spring. That concludes your reading, Mayor. If you would entertain a motion second to adopt and have discussion, if any.
Motion to adopt.
So moved.
Director
Second.
Weatherford, seconded by Director Davidson.
1017 Spring, certified letter, green card return signed. And we've had the housing file on this for years. Since 2015, we've issued 20 notices on this. And then just recently here, it has had a fire. There's not been any utilities on it in years, so we don't know how the fire started. So, but we've issued many notices over the years on this property.
Very good. Any questions of Mr. Scott?
Anyone here to speak in opposition of Resolution R-1973, condemning certain real property located at 1017 Spring? 1017 Spring. Hearing none, Mayor, continue discussion or call the roll.
Any discussion amongst directors?
Mr. Mayor, I do have a question, Mr. Scott. Would you explain for the public the difference between notices and citations?
A notice is where we just give you a list of the items that you need to correct, and then we give you time to correct those, come in and get a building permit if it be required, and give you time to repair those issues. But if you don't do any of that, we wind up giving you a citation, and that goes to court to where a judge decides what the fine will be or what it will not be.
So there's a fair number of citations out there that have been enforced in the courts, and we're still not getting any progress.
Yeah, probably about a third of these, they wound up with citations on them. And then a lot of these properties, they see what's inevitable, they turn around, they flip it to somebody else or to a family member, and then all of a sudden we have to start all over again because we've got somebody new. You know, it's just it's a paper trail process, and if you flip it before we bring it to you, you know, before we've given you all the notices, we have to start all over with a new title search. And that's why some of these, you'll see we've had housing files for 10 plus years. Every time we get close to bringing it to you, it flips right before we give all of our notices. And Brian makes sure we're all in line with all those notices before we bring it to you. So,
Thank you.
Lawyers.
yes, sir, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank all of you.
Thank you.
Did we give the public a chance to speak?
I believe that we did. Maybe I'll do it one more time. Anyone here to speak in opposition of Resolution R 1973, a resolution condemning certain real property located at 1017 Spring? 1017 Spring. I think I did.
Yeah, I think we did, because then I asked for discussion. Any further discussion? Please call the roll.
Jones,
Aye.
Clark,
Aye.
Weatherford,
Aye.
Garcia,
Aye.
Folly,
Aye.
Davidson,
Aye.
McCabe.
Aye. Resolution is adopted. Our final action item of the evening is to consider Resolution O-1916, and I'll entertain a motion to suspend the rules and read by title only.
So moved.
A motion by Director Foley.
Second.
Seconded by Director Weatherford. All those who in favor of the motion to suspend the rules and read by title only signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion is approved. Please read by title.
Ordinance 01916, an ordinance to grant a franchise to occupy public rights-of-way and provide telecommunication services by E. Ritter Communications Holding, Inc., and its subsidiary, E. Ritter Communications, Inc., doing business as Ritter Communications, to set forth the terms and conditions for the use and rental of such rights-of-way and for other purposes. That concludes your reading, Mayor. If you would, entertain a motion second to adopt and have discussion, if any.
Very
So
good.
moved.
Motion to adopt by Director Jones, seconded by Director Davidson. And Mr. Spitzer is going to provide the staff overview.
Thank you, Mayor. Board members, if, and likely as the public calls, Ritter Communications made an announcement in February of this year of bringing their broadband internet services to the Garland County Hot Springs area. And well in advance of that announcement, staff had been working diligently with Ritter to work out a franchise agreement. It's a non-exclusive franchise agreement to offer these telecommunication services. Ritter Communications is a full-service telecom company, so we're talking phone, video, fiber, internet services. And the City of Hot Springs, by granting this franchise agreement, they allow Ritter Communications and their subsidiaries to occupy, to work inside the city's public right-of-way. And within that, you're talking roadways, the sidewalk areas, aerials, and things of that nature. Of particular note with Ritter Communications is the city of Hot Springs has some conduit that runs within the downtown area, and that is something of great interest for them. The franchise agreement that we've worked out, it does, the franchise rate is 4.25%. That's very comparable to other franchisees, AT&T, Entergy, CenterPoint. The telecom services that they'll offer also provide the City of Hot Springs with dark fiber connections at 15 locations, which is something very similar to what the city had with Resort Cable, who's been a long time franchisee with the City of Hot Springs. The 15 locations are spread out throughout some of our public facilities, and in doing so, our IT director, Jeff Winter, was very aware of where we needed to have those fiber locations, and he did an outstanding job of assisting in this negotiation well as Mr. Burrow and our city attorney. I think if the public will recall, Ritter Communications had made a pretty sizable donation to the Hot Springs Boys and Girls Club build project. So I think they're very interested in being part of the community and bringing their business here. And in negotiating the franchise, it was very apparent that they wanted to be part of the community, and we had nothing but a good outcome. So with that, the franchise ordinance that we're recommending is in good form by the city attorney and Ritter Communications.
Good. Any questions of Mr. Spitzer? Director Garcia.
In the 4.25% franchise fee is the earnings they make here, or what is the? Can you explain what the franchise fee
Sure.
is?
That's found in paragraph 11. The Ritter will pay the city a franchise fee beginning with the calendar year generation of gross revenues, an amount equal to the 4.25%. That rate is 4.25% on their telecommunication service revenues and their 4.25% on video service revenues. That's in addition to the dark fiber that they'll provide at no cost to the city.
Just the revenue generated in Hot Springs?
Yes, ma'am.
And how do they document that? I mean, what is our documentation of their revenues?
They provide the city an accounting of what their book of business is for that annual amount, and just back that out, that 4.25%.
And that's part of their agreement?
Yes.
Thank you.
Director Garcia, they also have to get a permit for the work. There won't be a permit fee. That's part of the franchise agreement. However, the permit still has to be pulled so we know what portions of our right-of-way they're working in. So we can watch that as it moves through the process as well. And same as we have with any contractor, we'll have inspectors checking that work, making sure that it's placed back as good or better than where they found it. So.
I just recall some issues with Windstream that
Yes, ma'am.
did work without getting permits or without reporting any income and didn't pay us. And
Correct.
so thank you for making sure that's all inclusive.
Any further? Director Clark.
Yeah, just I believe they're based in Arkansas, aren't they? The company.
Jonesboro. They are.
Any further questions? Anyone from the audience? We didn't have anybody sign up to speak on this item. Any further discussion amongst directors? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Clark,
Aye.
Weatherford,
Aye.
Garcia,
Aye.
Foley,
Aye.
Davidson,
Aye.
Jones,
Aye.
McCabe.
Aye. Ordinance is adopted. That concludes the action items for tonight's meeting. We will now entertain Board of Directors items for discussion. Director Garcia.
Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to publicly thank Officer Joey Williams. Yesterday evening was Karen's community meeting, and Joey Williams did a wonderful job in communicating all the activities and of the police department, and is a fine representative for them. And we had a full house, and they were very complimentary of our police department and how Officer Williams represented them. So I wanted to publicly give the police department that kudo.
Thank you. Director Foley.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to give a shout out to retiring City Director Suzanne Davidson for your diligence and hard work and how much you've seen your district improve over the last 5 or 6 years. Nice job.
Can't hear. That was going to be like I was getting rid of you. But I would like to also say that Park Avenue has come a long way since you took over. And I know that for a fact because I was around back in the day. We'll just say back in the day.
It's way
Well,
back.
I thank you for those comments, but it certainly wasn't just me. I was like the barking, squeaking dog at some meetings downtown, you know, like when city business owners, et cetera. And when I moved here there were only 2 storefronts occupied in downtown Central. It was quite different from when we had a ranch in Nashville, Arkansas, and we used to come over here, Mother and I did, and shop when I was in the 6th, 7th, and 8th grades. And it was so sad. My ex-husband was from Hot Springs, so I grew to love it. I did my student teaching here, but I ended up teaching art in Arkadelphia. But what I wanted to say is thank you for the opportunity. Thank you for one of the primary people that didn't just push, but almost shoved me into this position to run and raised money and helped fund the campaign. I am so proud of all the things that have happened in District 1. We cleaned it up. You all cleaned it up. Now instead of being the 8th safest, we're the number 1 district. That's the safest in town. I have some friends that lived on the lake. They said, well, where did they all go? I said, out here by you. But I'm really pleased with the positive and good changes that have come through for Hot Springs, and there's still more to come. We know that. Stay on top of the Majestic site. We don't just want to see, some fluff. We want it to be significant.
That's true.
And as a rancher's kid and military brat, I quit counting moves at 50, so I don't know how many I'm up to now. But my nephew has sort of made me an offer I can't refuse, which is a house. So I thought, why not? He's the only relative I've got left. So, might as well be close to what family you have. And so I'm going to go back to Texas. I will tell you, I quit counting moves at 50, but I'm a 6th generation Texan on each side, on both my mother's side and my dad's. So it'll feel like going back home. Yeah. But I'll be back to visit. Keep a light on, I'll show up sometime, let you know I'm coming. But I'm really proud to have served with this board. You all have been so helpful and so accommodating, and it's been a great learning experience. I'm just so glad I got to do it. I really did. I'd never done anything like this before, except, school stuff and PTA and stuff like that. But I'm proud of Hot Springs, and it's almost like the old days, but much, much better, I think. And thank you all, too. Thank you.
Yeah, she almost made me forget what I was going to say.
No, you were not ready yet.
Oh, no, not for that.
Okay, good. You have something else?
Yes. On Saturday, we had the talk of the district, and H.R. Minnie Lennox was our speaker, was our guest, and she did an amazing job. She's gifted, I'm sure. She had no notes, no paper, no nothing. She just shot out and just kept, I guess when you've done it 30-something years or whatever, however long she's been in it, it came by her real easy. But the NAACP was there. We went through their meeting along with Gateway, and she did a wonderful job, and she's to be commended. So Park Avenue, if y'all ever need another good speaker, she's great.
Yes.
Thank you, Mayor.
Very good. I didn't mention this earlier under upcoming events, but for those of you who are interested, there's a gumbo competition at Saturday late morning in Hill Wheatley Plaza, and you're going to see a whole bunch of really nice Corvettes this weekend, starting with a parade on Friday afternoon around 3:30 or so, and then the car show is Saturday. And last year Director Jones, I got to pick the Mayor's Choice Award, and it was a very coveted award. And Hot Springs native won the whole thing. Not the Mayor's Award. Kelly comes up to me and says, "That's my car." I mean, I really liked it, but all of a sudden I can't pick a car that a local citizen said, "That's mine." So he got ousted, but he won the whole shebang. So, and I want to make a comment here. At the recent Hot Springs Metro Partnership annual awards luncheon, Bill Burrows was recognized by the Metro Partnership as for Economic Development Leadership Award. And Bill is the first one to say that from an economic development standpoint, all city departments are involved in economic development in some way or fashion. And some are a little bit more behind the scenes, some are front center, but it takes good leadership, and I believe this maybe had as much to do with our water policy, our expansion of our economic development policies for access to water. But Bill, here's your award again for the second time, so thank you. You want to make any comments on that?
Yes, I'll. You know, that was really a shock. Typically, these type of awards go to industry, and I guess in some aspects we could be considered there. But it was truly an honor to receive this award. And later that day, it just happened to be on a day where we were having our department head meeting, and you know, all I could think of in that meeting was sharing it with the department heads and the staff and the people in the field. These kind of awards, it may have my name on it, but it's really our collective team that makes the difference. I can tell you, we have so many loyal employees in the city that really strive to do a good job for the citizens that we serve. We all understand that we are service individuals, that we serve a community. In other aspects, Mayor, it's really the decisions that this board makes. We bring you good policy, I hope, and you pass that good policy, and those are the things that are helping our community thrive, whether that's inside the city, our county, our community. We have made good decisions. I think we've been great ambassadors, but really it's this board from District 1 through District 6 to the mayor at large, and even all of the leaning we do on our city attorney. But it honestly, it is a team event or a team effort, and we just appreciate the board for allowing us to make these kind of strides. And this award just, I think, recognizes that there's a perception change going on in our community, that the city is here to make things happen. We want to see additional economic development come. We're very proud of all of our neighborhood associations. PACA, you're very strong. We appreciate you. Our Whittington Valley, our Quapaw Prospect, and we need more neighborhood associations. We need people getting involved to make the difference in your own neighborhood, and we're here to help you do that. So, Mayor, thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments? Director Jones, will you yield the floor to Director Davidson and allow her to close out this meeting?
Oh, shucks. This one time I will.
Oh, that's so kind of you.
Thank you, Mayor. I move that this board adjourn the meeting now.
And I second it.
We got a motion and a second. All in favor to adjourn, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, you'll be staying in the dark. Thank you.